Hello, and welcome to Tips for the Transition. I'm Maria Tomás-Keegan, life transition coach for professional women, and your host. We're going to get right into our conversation today. The topic is money talk, women getting passionate about investing. You know, a lot of my clients and the women I speak to feel that financial security and understanding how to take care of money, especially when they're going through a major life change like the loss of a loved one or retirement or a layoff. It's a big subject for them. It's a hot button and they worry about it. So I want to talk today about how women think about money with a delightful expert on the topic. You're going to meet Lois Carrier-Maurice, and she's a certified financial planner and president and CEO of her own firm, Carrier-Maurice and Webb Wealth Advisors, with offices in Tennessee and Arizona. Now, I asked Lois to join us because she is passionate about and has always been fulfilled by teaching, encouraging, and working toward financial empowerment for women. She's long held the observation that when women are educated about investing, they tend to make better long-term investors than men do. And she explains it when they're taught in womanese, then we get it and then we can run with it. And that's what Lois helps us do. So I would like to introduce you now to Lois Carrier-Maurice. Hi, Lois.
Hello. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
That's wonderful. I know that you're moving today, so I really appreciate your taking the time to chat with us.
Prayers, please. Prayers.
Yes, prayers all the way. So I'd like to hear more about your story, Lois. Can you tell us more about your journey with money?
I sure can, Maria. I was born into a family with a spendaholic father who came from a lot of wealth and a mother who was a saver who came from poverty. So during my childhood, there was a lot of unrest, insecurity about money. There was constant screaming and yelling over money, fights about money. And I remember it was just horrifying, never knowing if we were going to have a house to live in because my dad's spending habits, so forth. And so I grew up just very insecure around money. And as I grew into my adulthood and had my own jobs and so forth and had to manage my own money, I decided that of the personalities that, since I didn't have my own money personality at the time, I decided I was going to live like my dad, because my mother, even though I knew that she had really struggled to take care of us kids, she had always been the one that said no, 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 no. So I started living like my dad, having fun and spending money, and I ended up with about $32,000 on credit cards. Well, that was just a disaster. It didn't take me long to hit bottom and decide, okay, I've got to work my way out of this. And once I did that, then I decided to live like my mother, very frugally. Well, that ended up with head down, always stop beating myself to get out there and make more money and save. So it wasn't until I had a life-changing experience at age 38 that I finally realized, okay, I've got to figure out who I am around money. So wherever your listeners are about money, I've been there and I can identify, and thank God I have survived that and found who I am about money. And I made the commitment when I became a certified financial planner, I would help any women that I could, so they would never live like my mother had to live.
I think that's interesting to hear that you vacillated in your own money story, how I started out spending like your dad and then saving like your mom, and then you finally came into your own and learned how to balance the two.
Yes. We each have a money personality that's developed by about age 8. And my partner and I have specialized in something called life planning. And for me, that saved my life, because that's a whole body of study that talks about money, our childhood reflections about money, our adult attitudes about money. And I went through this very painful but rewarding journey to find out that I was carrying different personalities in my money behavior and that I needed to develop my own. So that was very significant for me, even though it took some work. We offer that as one of our services, because most of us really don't know who we are about money, and we vacillate like I did. So that's one of the things we try to do is to help people find out who they are about money, so you can stand solid in what you want to do. The number one fear right now in the America for women is they all are afraid of becoming bag women, bag ladies. That is amazing to me. That was the number one fear of women 27 years ago when I started my practice. And to know that that is still the number one fear of women just breaks my heart.
I agree with you. And that's such a beautiful service that you provide, that you help them to first get in tune with who they are about money before you teach them about what to do with their money.
Absolutely. It's very, very important.
That's great. So tell me, why do you think, you mentioned this to me before, and I'm really curious, why do you think it is that women, a lot of women, not all women, but a lot of women, especially who are going through traumatic experiences, they don't even want to know about this investing stuff?
That is true, Maria, and that's exactly the way I was. When I had money and the saving money and so forth, I got a financial planner because I didn't understand anything. And he was a male, nothing wrong with that, except I could never understand him. And I had another financial planner who was male, and again, I couldn't understand. It just seemed like a foreign language to me, all about investing. And it's because men look at it as a very technical viewpoint, and it's not spoken in womanese. So what happens is that women, we get turned off so quickly because it's so mechanical, and it just doesn't fit in what we're doing because we're not the mechanical ones. And so what I found is that when it's put in womanese, I teach women about investing using 4 food groups and ice cream cartons. It can't be more simple than that and more fun. And that aha moment when a woman recognizes, hey, I do know this stuff and I can learn this stuff. It's so empowering. And that just makes my life worth living. I've always said that the stock market is female. If you look at most of us women, at least I'm definitely this way, I changed my mind with absolutely no rhyme or reason. My husband's looking at me like, I thought we were, no, I've changed my mind. And it's supposed to be okay. And also, I'm unpredictable, but for the long term, I'm a solid bet. All of us women are. That's why men marry us. However, we drive them crazy in the short term. The stock market is so female. And once a woman recognizes that the market just changes its mind all the time and that the men talking heads on the news are trying to predict her, capture her, she's not going to be done that way. She's a reflection of all people who invest. And I love her. She's crazy. She's sassy. She's unpredictable. But for the long term, you cannot go wrong.
I love the way you put that. I've never thought about that, the stock market having any gender at all, but it makes a lot of sense.
Oh, it does. It does. Yes. And it is comical. Men will just, they do all the technical analysis. But my husband just finally says, you're right. There's not a man on earth that can predict a woman. Why do we try to predict the market? I love it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yes.
So tell me, why do you feel so strongly, so passionately about women needing to understand about money, finances, investing? Why is that?
That's because there is some really urgency here, and I started these Wi-Fi gatherings, women investing for financial independence. Groups of women get together and they call me, and I go do it's kind of like Tupperware parties, but I teach about investing. And the facts I open up with are that 90% of all women will be at some point in time be financially responsible for themselves. I've been through divorce, I've been through job changes, I've been through all the changes that luckily you are there to help women with. And during all of those, I was financially alone and responsible for everything that I did. So that's the stats. 55 is the age of widowhood, the average age of widowhood, 50% divorce rate. There's more women now in this country who live in poverty than there are men. We outlive men by 10 to 15 years. So even if we have the most brilliant genius in our lives that manages all of our money, we need to know this stuff by ourselves. I had a woman told me a couple of weeks ago, well, my husband takes care of all this. I may attend one of your Wi-Fi's sometime in the future. And I sent her back and I said, why don't you attend now? Because when you're in the throes of losing a mate or transition, you don't have any common sense about money. That's the last thing you think about, and women make a lot of mistakes. So why not learn this stuff now if we can do it easily and simply when we're not under the stress of transition?
Oh, that's such good advice. I talk with women all the time, and they're in the transition, and they are confused, and they don't know what to do about it, and they need resources. And that's why I know women like you, so that I can put them together with the resources who can help them. And I love the fact that you don't just take their money and invest it for them, but you teach them first about how they feel about money and then what to do with it.
Absolutely, the education piece, and to make sure that whatever we decide is a joint decision. And I love that about the way we work, because we're not tied to having to sell any products. We're just fee only people, and it's an education. We're an educating firm. I spent years as a teacher, and I love to educate. So I won't even take someone who doesn't totally understand what we're doing and why, because that way it's a partnership of shared results, and that's exactly what you do.
Yes. So I have one last question for you, because I know you have studied this, and it fascinates me. The psychological aspects of money. Tell us a little bit about what you've learned.
Well, for me, I learned that, of course, as I spoke earlier, I did not have a clue who I was around money. In some areas, I had a fear of money, and in other areas, I had an overconfidence about money. And so, just finding out how my childhood reflections had scarred me, and going in and recognizing, okay, this is not appropriate for where I am now. To recognize that money is a resource. It's there in abundance. There's no shortage of money. It's our skill level and our openness not to be scared of it or over abuse it. Money only goes where it is respected. So if we look at where we are and how our mental attitude, if we're constantly grabbing for money, it's not going to come to us. If we're overconfident, it knows that we're not going to use it wisely. So money is a very spiritual means, a substance, and I know that the Bible is the second most talked about topic in the Bible. And what it teaches is that stewardship. Money is only going to come to us when we are capable of being its master, a kind master, but its master. So it's very fascinating work, and I'm like you, I could talk all day about this. I do a lot of speaking about this, but money likes to know that when it comes to us, we're going to reward it with masterful guidance, and we can use it then to do more than we can just on our own.
You're right. We could talk about this for hours, and I want to keep our interview short so it's easily consumable for our listeners. So, Lois, we're going to probably do this again sometime soon, so that we can talk about other aspects of what you know and what you can teach us. So I want to thank you so much for being here, and I want to let everyone know that you've offered a free gift so generously for our viewers. And it's called 7 Financial Tips for Women in Transition. And if you look at the link below this video, you will see the website where you can request your free gift. So be sure and get that from Lois. And I just want to thank you so much, Lois, for being here.
You're welcome, Maria. And I must warn the women, my tips are very blunt. So I pull no punches. I'm pretty blunt with it, but they're good tips. It's based on a lot of years' experience. But this has been a joy.
Thank you so much. And I want to thank everyone for joining us today. I hope you pulled at least one nugget of gold out of what Lois has shared with us. And I just want to leave you with one more thought. Approach each new challenge and choose. Give up, give in, or give it all you've got. This is Maria Tomás-Keegan. Until next time.